It was a peaceful morning in Wagadugu, Burkina Faso. The sun had just risen, softly pouring its golden light over the city. Birds were singing softly, and folks were beginning their day. All seemed to be well. No one could have imagined what was about to happen. Within the presidential palace, President Ibrahim Traoré sat stoically in his office. He had just finished the morning briefings when his personal assistant burst through, face ashen, hands shaking. "Mr. President," the assistant stammered, "there's been a dreadful plane crash in India. Air India Flight 171. 265 people are confirmed killed." The president froze the moment he heard it. His heart dropped. He couldn't bear to open his eyes, closing them tightly as if he could push this nightmare away. But it was no dream. It was all too real. Slowly, he stood up from his seat, put his hand over his chest, and uttered, "Oh no, Allah, have mercy." The room was silent, overwhelming silence. The tragedy weighed too heavily. 265 lives, lost. Men, women, children. Families shattered. Dreams that would never see the light of day. Smiles that would never be seen again. President Traoré walked slowly towards the window, looking outside. While the sun still shone brightly, his world had lost its light. He thought about the victims, the anxious families who would never hug their loved ones once more. After a long silence, he turned and spoke softly. "Roll the camera. I need to talk. To the world, to the families. My heart aches, but I need to give words of comfort. The world needs to hear something real, something loving." The cameras were quickly prepared. Around the world, the people waited as President Ibrahim Traoré sat down, his face full of grief, but his voice firm and steady. Addressing the camera, he spoke from his heart. "My beloved people everywhere, today my heart is bleeding. I speak not only as a president but as a father, a brother, and a human being. The tragic crash of Air India Flight 171 has shaken us all. 265 innocent lives lost in a moment. Lives that were once filled with dreams, hopes, plans, now lost forever. They were children, workers, leaders. Fathers, mothers, husbands, wives, sons, daughters, friends, human beings like you and me. They stepped on that plane with smiles and hope, expecting tomorrow. But in an instant, it was all over. And here's the sad reality. It could have been any one of us. You, me, your parents, your best friend. No one is promised tomorrow. This tragedy needs to wake us up. In a world torn apart by hate and resentment over the smallest things, we fight, we harbor resentments, we won't forgive. But life is too short for this kind of pettiness. If you love somebody, tell them. Today, kiss your parents, hug your kids, make up before it's too late. Tomorrow isn't guaranteed. If you're privileged to be wealthy, spend it to rejoice, to serve others, not to inflame greed. Don't abuse the blessings of God, for none of it will accompany you to the tomb. These 265 lives are a bittersweet reminder. Life is short. One instant, they were envisioning the future. Next, they are gone. They weren't statistics. They were human beings with families who loved them, kids who will cry for them, parents who will bury them, friends who will miss them forever. Rest in peace, gorgeous souls. My sincerest condolences to your families. My prayers to all the grieving mothers, shattered fathers, all the widows and orphans. May God give you strength and heal your shattered hearts. And to the world, let this suffering teach us something. Let us love more, forgive sooner, treasure every second, because life can be turned upside down in the blink of an eye. Peace be upon you all." When President Traoré completed speaking, millions of people around the globe cried. His words struck millions of hearts. It was not only for India, it was for the entire world. But many still needed answers. What truly happened on that plane? How could 265 lives vanish so quickly? On that morning in Ahmedabad, India, the skies were blue and clear. The Flight 171 passengers were happy as they alighted at the airport. Some were coming back from holidays, some to work, others to see their families. All of them had a reason to travel, and aspirations for their future. On board, Others talked and joked. Children played games. Flight attendants circulated snack. Pilots performed last-minute checks. All seemed normal. The airplane taxied down the runway. Engines roared as it took off. From the ground, families waved goodbye, not knowing that they were waving goodbye for the last time. Moments of takeoff, and things had started to go terribly wrong. In the cockpit, the pilots had sensed something was amiss. The airplane was not climbing normally. Engine power was lost. The landing gear was not fully retracted. The flaps were incorrectly configured for climb. Minor technical problems added up to a fatal crisis. The pilots battled bravely. They attempted everything, tweaking controls, seeking assistance, adding power. But it wasn't enough. The plane continued to lose altitude, perilously close to the city. Inside, passengers felt anxiety. The plane rocked mildly. Faces became strained. Parents held their children closer. Some wept silently. Others murmured last prayers. And then, the unthinkable. The plane had crashed into a residential building. A deafening explosion. Flames engulfed everything. Smoke filled the sky. The building collapsed. Rubble scattered. Rescue workers arrived in a hurry. Sirens pierced the air. Firefighters, police, medics, neighbors, all attempted to save lives. But the fire was too intense. Time elapsed before the flames could be brought under control. When they were, the destruction was evident. 266 on board, just one survived. That lone survivor, injured and dazed, was pulled from the debris. With tears streaming, he whispered, "I don't know why I'm alive. Everyone else is gone." At the airport, waiting families collapsed in grief. Mothers screamed, fathers fell to their knees, children were left without parents. News cameras captured it all: burnt toys, handbags, passports, wedding rings, scattered memories of lives that ended too soon. The world stood still. Hearts were broken. It was a day no one would ever forget, a day that taught us how fragile life is. The news traveled fast. Flight 171 destroyed, 265 dead, one survivor. Throughout the globe, people clung to their children a little tighter. Families embraced each other in silence. Even strangers cried for those they'd never known. Among them, an old couple coming back with their son-in-law, a young couple who owned a spiritual center, a family of 5 with hopes in their hearts, an erstwhile chief minister, a pilot contemplating retirement, a crew member working for her family, 2 brothers, one who survived to bear the impossible burden of loss. These were not strangers. They were loved. They had birthdays to come, anniversaries, holidays, promises to keep. But destiny had other plans. With each passing day, agonizing questions tormented all. What were their final thoughts? Were they afraid? Did they regret not forgiving someone, loving more, living differently? Such questions must be answered, not for closure, but for introspection. This tragedy isn't about a crash, it's a reflection. It's a big cry to wake us up. We pursue money, we bicker over nothing, we waste seconds. We believe we have time, but do we? If today were your last day, would you live it differently? Would you apologize? Would you tell your parents that you love them? Would you forgive? Would you smile more? Let the sorrow of these 265 lives teach us. Love deeply, forgive quickly, use your blessings to do good. Because one day, just like them, your time will come too. We pray for the families shattered today, for every mother, father, child, and friend left behind. May they find healing. May we all find perspective. And as long as we are still breathing, let's learn. Let's love. Let's forgive. Let's live as if every day could be our last. Rest in peace, the 265 victims of Flight 171.